When it comes to going fast down mountains on rough, gnarly trails, then a downhill bike is the ultimate tool for the job. They're really fun. The 200mm suspension lets you get up to all sorts of things on these bikes. But when it comes to slightly flatter downhill tracks, or even trying to pedal this bike anywhere, it's really not that much fun. They're just so inefficient. But is there a bike that can get you up to the top of the hill in fast time, but also be pretty enjoyable and be just as fast down the hills? No, not an enduro bike, a downhill e-bike. Alright, so today is downhill bike versus e-downhill bike. Let's see if this is a good option for people that maybe don't have an uplift and they want to get to the top, do some serious downhill riding. But first, I'll reacquaint myself with my downhill bike. This is my Nukeproof Dissent 297. That means 29 front, 27.5 rear, so mixed wheel sizes. Aluminium frame, got a RockShox boxer up front, super deluxe coil shock on the rear. It's got 4 different options on this pivot placement to change how progressive this bike is. Got a SRAM 7-speed downhill cassette on here because this bike is only made for going downhill fast, nothing else. So good. It's not often I actually come and ride bike parks at this big elevation on a downhill bike, but when I do, it reminds me how good they are. And it's not the lightest bike, but still, once you're pointing down the hill, they're nimble, they're fast, you can overshoot jumps and get away with it. So they're hard to beat. Let's see what this Husky's all about, shall we? Now this is the Husqvarna Extreme Cross 10. It's one of very few e-bikes that come in this downhill spec. It's got 200mm of travel front and rear with that Fox 40 triple clamp fork up front. It's got a Shimano EP8 motor with 85 Nm of torque and a 630 watt-hour battery, coming in at a total weight of 27 kilograms compared to the 17 kilograms of the downhill bike. All right, well, definitely wasn't as fast as the uplift truck to the top, but it wasn't the smell either. So it's all about the downhill. Let's see what this thing's like. Well, you can definitely feel the weight of this thing, good and bad to be fair. It's a proper juggernaut. On that fast and rough stuff, it's just solid. You're not going to hit something and get bounced off. And the suspension works really well because you've got all that weight in the middle of the bike. It's really letting the suspension move around. When it comes to stopping it and throwing it around, like stopping it, I can feel the brakes heating a little bit. And throwing it around in the air, you can do it, and it's really solid. You're not going to get kicked awkwardly on the jumps, but it's just not as popping, as fun as a downhill bike, obviously, because you've got 10 kilograms more. But I think the real test of a downhill bike is to do some time, see how fast they are downhill. So, as I'm on the e-bike, I'll get back up the top and see how fast I can go on it. How much riding you can get out of a battery on the e-bike depends on a lot of things like rider weight, the riding conditions, the mode and the settings you have on the bike. Obviously in eco you can do loads of laps, maybe even ride all day and then charge during lunchtime. But typically from a 630 watt hour battery, you probably get just about 1,000 meters riding all day in turbo, which is about 2.5 runs at Difi Bike Park, or up to about 3,000 meters using different modes, so you're not in turbo the whole time. 3,000 meters would be the equivalent of 7.5 runs top to bottom of Donoghue, so actually probably quite a lot. All right, let's do a run on the e-bike. Drop in 3, 2, 1, go. Back to the naturally aspirated downhill bike, which I'm looking forward to riding. I think I'm going to beat the e-bike time on this for sure, but proof is in the pudding, as they say, so time for a timed run on downhill bike. Alright, timed run's done too. I'm actually pretty pooped after that. And the times. So the e-bike did a 1 minute 50. The downhill bike did a 1:46, which was way closer than I thought it was going to be. The downhill bike felt loads faster, kind of whipping it around the turns. Felt like I carried really good speed in it, but only 4 seconds, that's crazy. I would have guessed like 15, 20 seconds. But, you know, somewhere like this, Difi Bike Park, we've got an uplift. The downhill bike wins every day of the week for me. It's more fun to ride in my eyes. I can throw it around on the jumps. It feels fast, even though it's not that much faster. However, I do think this has its place. If you live somewhere with serious elevation, on some techie trails that maybe aren't bike parky, then I think this would be brilliant. For me, probably in the UK, we don't probably have enough elevation to warrant this bike, but you know, somewhere in the Alps where you've got 1,000 meter climbs, I think that would be in its own. However, for the rest of it, I think, you know, a 160mm travel e-bike can do most of those things really well anyway. So I feel like it's possibly a bit niche, but I think it has its place. And for that, it would be brilliant. For me, the downhill bike still wins. And every time I ride this thing, I think I need to spend more time on it. So let me know what you think down below. Do you love downhill bikes? Are they still better than enduro bikes? I mean, you know, for bombing down hills, I still think they're amazing. So yeah, give us a thumbs up if you love downhill bikes.